Well, thank you for returning. I hope that you have been enjoying this series. Today, we're going to talk about Martin Luther King making a difference in America. Martin Luther King Jr., born or lived between January 15th, 1929 to April 4th, 1968, when he was assassinated, was born Michael Luther King Jr., but later had his name changed to Martin. His grandfather began the family's long tenure as pastors of the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, where his father served from 1914 to 1931, or his grandfather. His father served from that point until 1960, until his death. Martin Luther acted as co-pastor after that. Martin Luther attended segregated public schools in Georgia, graduating from high school at the age of 15. He received his BA degree in 1948 from Morehouse College, a distinguished Negro institution of Atlanta, from which both his father and grandfather had graduated. After 3 years of theological study at Crozer Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania, where he was elected president of a predominantly white senior class, he was awarded the BD in 1951. With a fellowship won at Crozer, he enrolled in graduate studies at Boston University, completing his residence for the doctorate in 1953 and receiving the degree in 1955. In Boston, he met and married Coretta Scott, a young woman of uncommon intelligence and artistic attainments. 2 sons and 2 daughters were born into the family. In 1954, Martin Luther King accepted the pastorate of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. Always a strong worker for civil rights for members of his race, King was, by this time, a member of the executive committee of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP is what it's known as today, the leading organization of its kind in the nation. He was ready then, early in December 1955, to accept the leadership of the first great Negro nonviolent demonstration of contemporary times in the United States, the bus boycott described by Gunnar Jan in his presentation speech in the honor of the laureate. The boycott lasted 382 days. On December 21st, in 1956, after the Supreme Court of the United States had declared unconstitutional the laws requiring segregation on buses, Negroes and whites rode the buses as equals. During those days of boycott, King was arrested, his home was bombed, he was subjected to personal abuse, but at the same time, he emerged as a Negro leader of the first rank. In 1957, he was elected president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, an organization formed to provide new leadership for the now blundering civil rights movement, growing civil rights movement. The ideals for this organization he took from Christianity, its operational techniques from Gandhi. In the 11-year period between 1957 and 1968, King traveled over 6 million miles and spoke over 2,500 times, appearing wherever there was injustice, protest, and action. And meanwhile, he wrote 5 books as well as numerous articles. In these years, he led a massive protest in Birmingham, Alabama that caught the attention of the entire world, proving what he called a coalition of conscience and inspiring his Letters from a Birmingham Jail, a manifesto of the Negro Revolution. He planned the drives in Alabama for the registration of Negroes as voters. He directed the peaceful march on Washington, D.C. of 250,000 people to whom he delivered his address, I Have a Dream speech. He conferred with President John F. Kennedy and campaigned for President Lyndon B. Johnson. He was arrested upwards to 20 times and assaulted at least 4 times. He was awarded 5 honorary degrees, was named Man of the Year by Time magazine in 1963, and became not only the symbolic leader of American blacks, but also a world figure. At the age of 35, Martin Luther King Jr. was the youngest man to have received the Nobel Peace Prize. When notified of his selection, he announced that he would turn over the prize money of $54,123 to the furtherance of the civil rights movement. On the evening of April 4th, 1968, while standing on the balcony of his hotel room in Memphis, Tennessee, where he was to lead a protest march in sympathy with striking garbage workers of that city, he was assassinated. Martin Luther has many different quotes, but I find this one intriguing as we talk about being a difference maker. He says, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? That's a difference maker. Next time that we get together, we will be talking about, we will be talking about Jim Elliot making a difference in missions, and he had a short life as well. I trust that you're following along. If you have fallen behind, they are posted at our YouTube channel.